Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another round of entitled people. This time without Darius, it's just me. So let's get started. The first one is called I've upgraded to first class. Background. Airline captain commuting to work. Purchased a full fare first class ticket to get there. Lived in Atlanta at the time. Domiciled in Houston and commuted. Normally you could get a jump seat in the cockpit, but on this auspicious day, that was already taken. Pass riding wasn't an option because there was no seats in coach and only one in first. Pass riders can be bumped for fare-paying passengers, and I needed to get to work, so I plunked down my credit card and bought the last seat in first. Boarding has occurred and I am peacefully in my seat waiting for pushback. Cast of characters. Me is commuting pilot, EW entitled woman, FA flight attendant, CPT captain of the flight I'm on. EU, you are sitting in my seat. You'll need to move right now. Me checks boarding pass. Nope, this is my seat. Not going to happen, sorry. EU, you're an employee. You're sitting in my seat. Move now. Me, may I see your boarding pass? Clearly there's been some mistake. EW, you may not see my boarding pass. I showed that when I boarded. I've upgraded to first class. Now move. Me, you'll need to resolve this with the flight crew. I'm a passenger. EW stomps off, resembling an irritated Dolores Umbridge, and returns with FA. If you don't know who Dolores Umbridge is, she's from Harry Potter. FA, good morning, Captain. May I see your boarding pass? Me, sure thing. Shows boarding pass. FA, ma'am, that's his seat. He paid for it. EW, well then throw him off, dear. I've upgraded to first class and that is now my seat. FA, I'll need to see your boarding pass, ma'am. EW, you will not. I showed it when I boarded. I've upgraded to first class. FA, how did you upgrade to first class? EW, I upgraded to first class. I'm more important than an employee. Now get him out of my seat. Someone has called the cockpit and the captain has left the flight deck to deal with this. CBT, ma'am, I'm Captain Wallaby, not his real name. I've just spoken with the gate agent. We certainly apologize for this awkward situation. The agent has corrected your paperwork and has a voucher for future travel for you as well. Please go fetch your new boarding pass and your voucher and we'll be on our way. EW departs up the jetway, a triumphant smile on her face. The captain turns to the FA and says, prepare the doors for departure. The doors close. The captain returns to the cockpit, and as we push back from the gate, I can see EW pounding on the glass next to jetway. It was a nice ride to Houston. The coffee was wonderful. I'm guessing the captain lied just to get off the plane. So they can kick you off if you refuse to show them the boarding pass and cause any disruptions. It is an actual thing. I would say I'm a season flyer. I fly almost every summer time in the summer months, June, July. Like, if you show them your boarding pass, it's not hard. And yeah. One person comes in, really hope other airlines use that UN just go get what you want and psych strategy would help them more than security dragging the asshole off. Someone else commented, I have heard of this strategy from this subreddit before. Evidently, it's much easier and less disruptive to flight schedules to just kick them off that way than to bring airport security aboard the plane. So yeah, they can kick you off, and I think she just wanted a free upgrade because she thought she could have that right opportunity to try to make the poster move, but that didn't work. So let's move on to the next one. It's called My Entitled Nephews Stole From Me One Time Too Many. This time I got them arrested and now my sister and brother-in-law have to deal with the follow, and I really don't care anymore. Buckle in because it's a long one. In a prior post in a different subreddit, I asked if I was the bad guy for wanting to call police on my nephews for stealing from me. And the overwhelming support I got made me realize that standing my ground was the best thing for me to do. About midway last week when I came home from work, I noticed my shed door was open and the padlock that I used to keep it shut was broken, and I had a lot of bags full of soda cans in there. I and my friends tend to drink a lot of soda, so I've built up a lot of cans over the course of about a year, and I was going to cash them in at the bottle drop soon because I like big payouts. It's 10 cents a can where I live after all. But there was more than just my bags of cans missing from the shed too. They took my gardening shears, a steel rake, 2 shovels, one of them being one of those folding camping ones, a full 2-gallon gas can, a cheap power drill I got for like $5 used, an electric hedge trimmer, and a small electric chainsaw that was also used, and a machete. They didn't touch the lawnmower, weed whacker, extension cords, or the old radio I had in there. No idea why they took what they did, but I guess they figured they could resell them or something. I checked my camera footage and there was my 3 nephews, aged 16, 15, and 14, breaking into my shed with one of their dad's large claw hammers. I recognize the hammer because it's bright yellow and black, and their dad has a bunch of them. It only took them a few hits to smash the cheap lock. After they first broke into my shed, they took what they could by hand, and then they came back with some shopping carts. I'm guessing they also stole, but it took them a few trips to get all of those cans, and they didn't bother to even try and close the door when they were done. My sister and brother-in-law first denied their kids stole anything from me, so I went to their house and showed them the security footage from my cameras. I not told them I'd had cameras installed, and the reason I had the cameras put in was because of prior thefts by my nephews. It started with food and snacks, and then moved on to DVDs and video games, then pretty much anything they thought they could smuggle out of after that. And anytime I made them return stuff they'd stolen from me, I was treated like the bad guy, and then got the fakest apologies I've ever heard, and they never got in much trouble from their parents either. The final straw happened last year when my nephews broke into my house and stole a 6-pack of my favorite blood orange beer from my fridge. They used my hidden spare key to get in, and also took a huge dump in one of my bathrooms, and not only didn't flush but also peed all over the floor. And I'm pretty sure it was intentional. The beer they stole was hidden in one of their bedrooms when I confronted my sister and brother-in-law about my nephew stealing it. And I was basically given an equivalent to boys will be boys when I wanted them punished, so I had the cameras put in and told no one, which was a smart move. When my sister and brother-in-law saw the camera footage of my nephew stealing from me, they seemed furious, but they were actually madder that the boys skipped school to steal from me. They spent all day making repeated trips to the bottle drop and cashing the cans by machine. The bottle drop also pays by machine, so that just keep bringing the cans until they cash them all. And then they bought video games and junk food with the money. Said money actually amounted to nearly $200. With that and the destroyed padlock, I told my sister and brother-in-law that they now owed me $200. My sister and brother-in-law went from being angry at their kids to making excuses for them, and then being angry at me for wanting that money back when I know they have 3 kids and a mortgage. I said it was either that or I go to the police and press charges. They told me to get out, and I said they have 2 days to decide how to pay me back before I go to the cops. I got back everything else my nephew stole, machete and gas can included, though they'd already used the gas for something. But over the next couple of days, my sister and brother-in-law were blowing up my phone with a ton of messages, both verbal and text. At first, they were calling me heartless because it was right after the holidays and they have 3 kids and a mortgage. Then they started gaslighting me, then even threatening me, and all of this would go in a repeating cycle. My nephews chimed in from another cell phone and were sending me lots of messages of their own, which were more fake apologies and gaslighting. My oldest nephew even sent me a picture of himself holding a soda can and giving me the middle finger, so I guess they weren't taking my threats of going to the police seriously because family. When I last spoke with my sister and brother-in-law, they refused to negotiate any sort of method of repayment for what my nephews did. Even when I suggested they just settle the video games that were purchased with the money from the cans, then they had the audacity to say I'd actually tempted my nephews by having the cans in my shed to begin with. Oh yes, I'm the devil snake that tempted my nephews with a shed full of cans that just screamed money, money, money. So that was it. I went to the police station that morning and filed a report, gave them a copy of the video footage of my nephew stealing from my shed, gave them the broken lock that they smashed, showed them all of the texts, which were screenshotted and also given as evidence. Hell, I even gave them a copy of the photo my oldest nephew sent me of him flipping me off. I did tell police that I found it worrisome that my nephews had taken the machete, but they classified it as a tool, especially since they took a lot of other actual tools. So far enough on that, I suppose. Fair enough. Sorry about that. But my nephews were indeed arrested on Saturday. Police came to their house and my sister and brother were forced to let them in because they had a warrant. Apparently, all three of my nephews went from being cocky little shits to crying like babies when they were being put in cuffs. I know this because a neighbor I'm acquainted with that's sort of friends with my sister was there to see it. And shortly after the arrest, my sister and brother-in-law were blowing up my phone again. They weren't able to get their kids out of jail till Monday morning. And now the boys are being charged with larceny, willful destruction of property / vandalism, and harassment. The police took the whole case pretty seriously as there has been complaints about my nephews for some time. But nothing was proven until now. The past few months, bags of kids have actually been going missing all over the area. Don't know if it was my nephews or not, but they're likely suspects. And with word spreading of their arrest, let's hope other neighbors with security cameras come forward with more footage. We're almost done. Again. My sister and brother-in-law showed up at my house too. I refused to open the door and told them that this all happened because they are enablers who refuse to hold their kids accountable for their action. That made them just scream and pound on my door more till I threatened to call police on them too. And since I've done it already, they know I mean it now. So they left without any more trouble, but they went back to blowing up my phone. I didn't block my sister or brother-in-law. Instead, I decided to just save all of the messages they sent me because I've made the decision to take them to a small claims court over this. I don't really need or want the money and have already replaced the destroyed padlock with a much better one. However, the kids aren't the only ones who need to be taught a lesson in the end. I hope I put them in enough of a hole that they learn not to screw with me ever again. I also have the full support of my family on this. My parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. They're all supporting me in this because my nephews have stolen from them too, and after banning my nephews from my house, some of them did the same. I'm going to push for my nephews to get community service, and the reason why isn't just because it's a good idea, but also because I know that they'll hate that the most. Whenever made to do any kind of work they don't want to do, they just stand around griping and act like the whole world is against them. So hardly anything ever gets done. Perhaps a few hundred hours of unpaid work will teach them some manners. They've been spoiled far too much. Yeah. I feel like OP's in the right here. Like, if they've stolen not once, but more than once, and from more than one family member, that's sad. Not only that, they broke property, stole property. And again, they're 16, 15, and 14. They should know better, and their parents should have honestly punished them from the beginning, which obviously parents don't punish. Let's go to the comments. Someone commented, you did them a favor, in 10 years they will understand why. Someone says, agreed, it's better to deal with the consequences as a minor than to get away with everything until you're an adult and daddy can't make it go away anymore. Yeah. Yep. I feel like he did the right thing. Let's move on to the last one. It says, entitled client thinks that everything can be solved by talking to the supervisor. For a little more context, I work as a receptionist at a medical clinic and is not my job. Also, I should mention, I read the bottom. This person doesn't speak good English, like they're learning to speak English, so if I make a few mistakes because I'm reading it as is. So let's continue. Even though I don't love my job, I take it seriously, as other people's health is not a joke. In addition to having the job policy of doing the best job possible at the moment, having to correct later what is much more work. I have seen many clients who are rude or disrespectful, including an elderly lady trying to beat my coworker using a cane, which became the unit's internal joke for the month. In another day's work, a client arrived with 3 pages of exams to take, but big but not the biggest I've ever seen. And as always, I added each exam to the system. Keep in mind that it is not the only step in the work. It is still necessary in some medical plans to make additional requests and add each individual code back to the health insurance system. As the client was on the phone, the first part was very quiet, but when she finished the call, she started complaining and insisted on being in a very loud tone for the whole place to hear, talking about how long I was taking and how much time she needed too much to be there. As professionally as possible, I said what I was doing, the most delayed part. I was attaching the order to a fixed agreement and waiting for the return. The client asked to speak to my supervisor, who was already coming to see what had happened. My supervisor knows this type of client very well, and he knows that it is not possible to do all of the procedures by magic, which all the professional words he explained to the client. The client did not accept what my supervisor said and demanded that my supervisor substitute me for opening the record. My supervisor, being responsible for the area, had to resolve the situation. Now comes the part that the client does not know. All the forms have to be opened at the login of who was making the request, and I was no longer responsible. With a big smile, I erased everything I spent almost 2 hours doing, and bonus, I had to cancel the request for medical insurance. Good luck having to wait another 2 hours for a complete medical record to be done again, in addition to the time after the exam are approved in the health insurance. And then obviously, P.S. I am studying English, and if I have misspellings, please let me know. Let's go to the comments. Comment says, oh, that's brilliant. How the fun you can have when it backfires on an entitled person. And all you can say is, well, I'm following your request of it not being me. Unfortunately for you, I have to delete all that I've submitted so far. Yeah, I don't know how many times I can say this. I don't know if I've said it on YouTube, but don't mess with healthcare workers, whether it's they're in the ER, nurses, doctors, or work partly with health insurance. Because you keep being assholes toward them, they're gonna stop caring, and they won't do anything right for you. They'll just deny your request. So, be nice. So, another person commented, so if the person who made the initial request stops dead, all their work has to be redone. Someone commented, unfortunately, yes, but it's partly because it is not so safe in terms of it. The system is normally opened by an internet browser, and if you have the password, it can be opened on the cell phone, which is against the rules. And basically, if you open more than 2 internet tabs, it can crash the page. Then the normal is the request to have only 1 page, so it is very fast to open. Someone else commented, as a software engineer, you are going to give me a heart attack from the post. Who designed that system? It needs to be thrown away in the place nuked from orbit, then send the engineers to the gulag. So yeah, those are the stories. If you have any stories of entitled people that you've encountered or Karen, let me know down below. I'd love to read them, and I might pick one if I find it good, and I might read it to everyone. So, but if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like or a thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you know when I post, and I'll see y'all in the next video.